So, Chris, let's start here at the beginning. I have spoken to people in the past about talc powder being problematic as a source of potential source of cancer. In the way that it's used. But this notion that there is asbestos, and you stop me if I've got this story wrong, because this is obviously new to me, and you obviously know much more about this. But this story about there being asbestos in the powder, is that what's going on here? And B, how do we know this? I mean, where did this information come from at the first instance?
Well, it's one of the things that is going on here, Sam. What people have to realize is that when they pick up a bottle of Johnson's baby powder or shower-to-shower powder, the talc that they are using comes from a mine. And when they mine this stuff, it is not pure of anything. It's like anything else. If you pick up a handful of dirt, it may contain mostly quartz, but it has other constituents to it. It may have zinc. It may have asbestos. And it just turns out that where you mine talc, it is in a place where you may find asbestos, but there are other carcinogens as well, zinc, fibrous talc, different kinds of carcinogens that are a problem.
Okay, and so walk us through this. When Johnson & Johnson starts to market these products and they go and mine for talc, I mean, I don't know much about mining, but I know that, when you're going for gold, right, there's other things, byproducts, that you're going to get. You want to strain those out. I mean, were the Johnson & Johnson people aware that, hey, there's some other stuff here in this, that may get mixed in with the talc, and maybe we should suss out whether that stuff is particularly healthy for people?
Well, there really are two things here with respect to cosmetic powders like baby powder. One are the things that are in the mine, the things that, as you say, should be screened out, and then things that are added, fragrance and those kinds of things. With respect to the things that are in the ground, yes, there was a recognition back in the 1970s that there was potential contamination with asbestos, and obviously that's a bad thing. So they developed a protocol that would help them screen for it, but that protocol is decades old and doesn't, in our view, doesn't screen out the majority. It may screen out the majority, but it doesn't screen out all of the asbestos. And as we know, for asbestos, even one asbestos fiber is a very bad thing and is a potential of causing cancer. But I want to be clear that at least what we're finding is there are multiple suspected carcinogens that make up baby powder. I think there's this misconception that when you go into the store and you buy talcum powder, you're basically getting pure talc, and that's not the case. In addition, I mentioned that in the process they put fragrance into the product, and the fragrance is also a concern that there may be things in there that are not benign and have the potential for contributing to the cancer burden of what we call talcum powder products, because it's really the whole product that in our view is the problem.
Okay, so I mean, give me a sense of this now. All of these, so all of these can these coincidental, I guess, elements. Can they, when they mix together, can they become more carcinogen? I mean, are we talking about the interplay of these things, or they all happen to be, or not all, but there happen to be other elements that will enhance a cancer? And when we're talking about cancer, what kind of cancer are we talking about, and what causes the cancer? I mean, where is it just putting it on your arms?
Well, what we're really talking about here is cosmetic powders that women use primarily in their genital area, and what happens is that over time, the powder that they use, depending upon the frequency and the duration, the time that they use it, have a greater chance of migrating and into the ovaries, and they cause ovarian cancer. Which, I really wanted to stop and take a moment, if I could, here and talk just a moment about ovarian cancer. Is that okay, Sam?
Please.
Yeah. Ovarian cancer is a very, very serious cancer. It affects between 20 and 25,000 women a year. Of that, a significant. By the time it is diagnosed in most women, it's at a very late stage and has one of the highest mortality rates of gynecologic cancer. So it's a very serious public health problem. And what's particularly frustrating about this case, and particularly frustrating from my perspective, is this is a cosmetic product, a product that nobody truly really needs. And if it is causing ovarian cancer in a percentage of those 20,000 to 25,000 women, it's a very serious public health problem that I think has for far too long gone unaddressed.
All right, interesting. So what we have here is there's basically dual tracks with Johnson & Johnson and these products. One is sort of like the dangers associated with the asbestos, and the others, I guess, presumably if you inhale it. The other one is the potential for ovarian cancer.
Correct.
And so I guess, the obvious question, the next obvious question is how much of this danger did Johnson & Johnson know was embodied essentially in their product? I mean, they got two tracks here, and these are distinct tracks that are problematic about these powders, if I'm not mistaken. All right, what I'd like to do, Chris, if we can take a break, when we come back, I'd like to get your sense of how much do we know as to what Johnson & Johnson knew, and how do we know or even know enough what we know now to suspect of the dangers of these products? I mean, what was the big tip-off? Because these are products that have been marketed to women, men, children. I used that shower-to-shower stuff. I remember as like a 10-year-old. I seem to remember using it. It's been there for a long time. Why are we just finding out about this, somewhat recently? We got to take a quick break. I'm Sam Seder. This is Ring of Fire Radio. We'll be right back after this.